Hello and welcome back to another Nori Moving Pictures. Hope you all had a good holiday. We're finally back after a little hiatus. And what I have here is a Kabaya kit. And this is called Metal Warriors. You can see here. Now this came from Hong Kong like this. And you can see here in the corner, that's what the package should have looked like. Now, that might lead me or someone else who gets things from Hong Kong often to think that this is a bootleg. And there is a chance it is. We might have a better idea once we take it out. However, when I was in Japan, I saw a lot of gashapon stores, and this is how they pack things. They pull them out of boxes, they'd pack things up like this because it was easier to display on the shelves. A lot of people don't care about the boxes anyway, except for maybe the instructions, which is typically, on this type of toy, stored that way. So, let's go ahead and get into it and see what we got. Now, since we don't have any sort of instructions here, we'll have to sort of play it by ear, but I don't think it'll be too bad. And you can see here the quality, the molding, all that. I mean, it looks typical. It's a bit heavier than the kits I've gotten from them in the past. If you look at my other videos, I've done Transformer kits, and those tend to be more like typical models where they're inject, like a Gundam, where it's really just about the exterior, so they don't fill a lot of the plastic. It's pretty hollow as far as the design goes. We'll get all the little parts out here, and it makes 3 beasts, and then they combine. And the way I discovered this, I never heard of this series before. I was looking for Mugenbein, as you guys see I like to build, and I was also, I think I was bored one night and I just typed in gashapon in eBay, and I went through thousands and thousands of listings. And I may have had something specific like mech or robot or even the brand Kabaya, and I ran across this. Let's move some of this stuff out of the way. And it reminds me, and that's sort of what it reminds me of. It reminds me of the candy kits that you would see from Bandai's Mugenbein. And maybe some of their other toy kits. So I've got my scissors here to get all this open. There's a lot of parts. And the price wasn't bad. I mean, it was like $10 shipped. So I was happy to get it. From what I've gathered, there's not a lot of information on these, but it was produced in 2010. I've got my model snips here, so we can go ahead and get these taken apart. And it's got these little joints, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it was produced in 2010. I do not know if there's any others. I did find a similar kit made by, I believe it was also made by them, Dragon Knights, something like that. I don't know if that's an original IP or based off an anime. So, anyway, but yeah, we'll get all this stuff snipped.
Special kind of space.
Now, since I don't have the instructions, I'm going to go based off of the photos I have. And I think first I will start building. It looks sort of like a fox to me. Could be, I think most likely it's a fox type creature. And the plastic feels pretty good. Very minimal paint details, but I think it's sufficient. Let's see, make sure I'm putting this all together right. Peg holes are really tight, so. And even based, just looking at the peg style, these will not be compatible with Mugenbein. which is unfortunate. I was kind of hoping they might work with it, or at least an add-on or something, but that's just not going to be the case. And if you look at the joints here, let's see if I can get really close. They're sort of like a mini. They're the same shape as a Revoltech joint. They just lack the ratcheting mechanism on the inside, but they are pretty tight once you push them together. Requires a decent bit of force. And this is a kit. I might have to go break out some of the Revoltech pliers just because of the amount of force required to get the pegs in. But the plastic seems strong. So there's the rear end. And then this gold section here. And the individual modes are, I mean, even in the picture, they're pretty basic. So don't expect anything too crazy. But it also with the Candy Mugamine series, they're fairly basic as well. So there should be a gold head. There are two, and I think they're identical. Which does create a problem. Because there's a peg on the end. So either I'm not doing this right, and this is what it looks like in the picture. So I think I am. Oh, you know, there's a neck piece. And I bet, yep. So the neck piece is the fist. So that's a clever way to make use of the fist. Of course, it's less visible on one side. Alright, so that creates a neck. There we go. And then we've got a little fox guy. Go ahead and set him off to the side here. So there'll be two foxes and sort of a manta ray creature. So let's go ahead and do the other fox real quick. And there we go. Got two little foxes. Foxes, wolves, I'm not sure what they want to call them. And they're in sort of this crouched, lying down position. Not very dynamic, not entirely interesting, but of course these individual modes are not why I got them. So now let's next do this manta ray. So we've got the center section here. And this one seems pretty basic. And as far as I can tell, that is all there is to this one. And it looks like a manta ray. It's got some okay detail there, some eyes, some gills. Plastic has a little bit of swirling in it. So this is a cheap figure, so I don't know how much to put in it. Compared to some of their other kits, it's pretty cheap. So next, and finally, we're going to do the bolt. Okay, I will of course had to speed that up because even in time lapse you could see that was pretty frustrating. I don't know if it's because I think part of it is the material this plastic is made out of. It's got some give, like a little bit of rubber tendency to it, but it's still pretty hard. It doesn't. Not all the pieces hold in super great. And the tolerances are so tight in the pegs, it takes a lot of force to put in there. So here you can see the bowl. So got the foxes, shown earlier, the manta ray, and then now the bull, or listed as cow in the description. So I don't know what the direct translation actually is, but all these modes, somewhat frustrating to assemble, and other than maybe kid playability factor, they're not that great. So let's take it all apart and try to make our gestalt out of it and see if it's something that's actually worthwhile after all this. So we'll start with the weapon. The manta, this is going to be the easiest. You turn these up, and you're done. You have an axe. So, in a way, that is cool because of the simple transformation and that it could so easily be two things from a design standpoint, but that's done. So now we're going to move on to the combined mode. And hopefully, through all the strain I had to go through to get this transformed, that I didn't do any damage to any of the visible areas, because as long as this thing ends up being cool in robot mode, it will probably never get transformed again. Some of the use of the hands and stuff like that, as far as making it work in combined mode, is pretty cool, but not cool enough to bother doing again. So, looking here, we'll take off the tails from the fox, and the torsos look like they get to stay the same. So we're going to pop off the head and the hands. So the head actually go down here and become sort of a more interesting shoulder piece. Let's see if we can. And then down here we have the hand, and let's see if these are, yeah, this will be the left arm. And already so far things feel like they fit a little bit easier for robot mode. So that is the arm right there, and we'll go ahead and do the other arm. So there we have both arms. Bull head stays the same, so it's sort of a minotaur kind of guy, which is pretty cool. And the head's got a decent design to it. I mean, it's robot bull, gray bull head. So torso, so as far as shoulder movement goes, looking here, you'll just have forward and back with elbow. Unfortunately, there are no joints in the shoulders, so he'll pretty much just be in a standing pose, I'm going to assume, once this is done, because there's just not enough joints to go around. Now, due to the size of these, I bet if I still have some mini Revoltex laying around, that I could add a little bit of posability to this. Head. Oh, you know what? He's Voltron style. So the picture is very small that I'm going off of, so it's not very clear. But see if you guys can see here. There is a face molded on the back of his jaw. So if you pull his jaw out and you flip it and peg it back in, you've got a head. That's a bit cooler than than just having the Minotaur head on there. So definitely Voltron style as far as that mode goes. So that's already looking pretty cool. Now let's get this lower section, which I have a feeling will be a little trickier. So the legs will work like this. It's all said and done. So these joints got to get pulled out. I don't know if there's an easy way to do that. I might have to just resort to the pliers. And these jeweler pliers here, they're actually pretty good They're meant for wire. I think I confiscated them from my wife's little project kit or something like that. And I've found them very useful in all kinds of kit bashing and stuff like that. Alright, so Alright, so now this thing's starting to come together. Kind of weird, but it included 2 sets of fists. So on the back here, we're going to use another set of fists, which I don't see a mode for. I don't think that there's a smaller robot mode, but I think it was probably something they already had a mold for, and then they were just cutting budget to make it work. So I'm guessing that's what this is for. I don't see any other use for it from the single picture I have. So, and that gives us these little holders, which they're not even necessary because there's these pegs here as well that would be able to just go into the back. But it might give it a little bit more of a curved look, a little more dynamic than what we would have had normally. So, but yeah, putting them on made that fall off. Hold on, everything fall off. So let's try this again. Now, what I could do, I think it might work. No, it'd be cool if the pegs were in a way on the hands where I could actually make the shoulders stick out more, but I don't think that's an option. I'm gonna get this lower section back on. And then the pegs fall off again. Alright, so now I have them combined. Definitely a very fiddly kit. The ankles, the feet pop off real easily, and it's hard to keep stuff on as you assemble it. The design is cool, the idea is cool. This type of plastic they used just isn't great, and I would say, I mean, if you could find it, $10 cheap really isn't a lot, especially for all you're getting with this. It's still an interesting design. I think it's pretty cool. It's a nice display for once you just get it where you want it and you just leave it alone. It's definitely a bit annoying as far as just things falling off all the time. I would see gluing maybe the ankles, just because they don't have any posability, they fall off real easily. But the rest, with enough force and enough time, it's a cool design. It's worth checking out if you can find it cheap enough. Definitely something I wouldn't say to hunt for over a Mugen kit. I think they tried to step it up a level by adding these joints. But the execution just isn't there. So it's interesting. We'll go ahead and get a look at the back, and I won't say it's fun. It's just kind of neat to look at. And now that I have it together and it's staying put, I'm going to put it on a shelf and I'm going to leave it alone. So this is sort of a retro review, just because even though it's new to me, this is a toy that is, I guess, 5 years old. So I'm going to be doing a handful more of retro reviews as I have some unopened stuff in my collection. We're going to check it out, and I'll be doing more reviews, and I'm in the process of doing some Mugen builds right now. So anyway, make sure you like and subscribe and stay tuned, and we'll see you all next time.